Hello, I'm Ronabir, live on Googly Goals, powered by Googly Mania. And we have got only 2 days left for the semi-final round of this year's World Cup in Russia. This World Cup has been fascinating to say the least. We have seen top teams losing out. We have seen the new teams coming up, playing to the heart's content. We have seen the debutants, Panama and Iceland, coming up with good performances, especially Iceland coming up with a dream performance against Argentina. And finally, in the semi-final round itself, we don't have teams like Brazil, we don't have Italy, we don't have Germany, we don't have Argentina, and probably this is the first time in, where rather 40 years or 50 years, we are seeing a World Cup semi-final where we'll be having 2 new teams. We have never seen Belgium or Croatia in the semi-finals, and we have England and obviously France. But before going into the teams, rather, we'll be discussing so many epithets of this year's World Cup. After all, World Cup is not about winning or losing. World Cup is all about seeing new stars coming up, new players coming up, and new coaches coming up with tactics with which you can directly look upon. And the tactics, for example, I remember 4 decades back when the Dutch football, Renas Michel, come up with total football itself. It brought about a revolution in the whole world with the style of football. This year too, we have seen inspiring performances and heartbreaks too. A few days back, we saw the Russia losing out against. They were the host itself. They lost the match against Croatia, and we saw. And another inspiring moment when we saw the Croatian president coming up in the locker room itself, hugging each and every player of the squad. That's what you think. That's what World Cup is all about. This World Cup, we have seen so many of the same-side goals, howlers by goalkeepers and howlers. Well, football fans will definitely be talking about Karius, who was keeping for Liverpool, and he missed 2 shots, one from Bale, and it ended all hopes for Mo Salah's Liverpool to get the Champions League. And we know the blunder he did in Karius. And this World Cup too, we have seen such misses from the goalkeepers. In the very first round, in the very first match of Spain, we saw how David Gea misjudged Ronaldo's left-footed shot. Remember, Ronaldo isn't that powerful with his left foot, but still David Gea misjudged it. Again, in the quarterfinal match where we saw Uruguay, the Uruguayan keeper Muslera misjudging a shot by none other than Griezmann. It was pretty sad because that particular goal ended all hopes for the Uruguayan team. So this is what you see, that World Cup is all about surprises, heartbreaks, special moments. One of my friends was telling me whether we are seeing so many goals in this year's World Cup or not. Well, the average goals have been something around within 2 to 3, but yes, we have seen some matches going into tiebreakers as well. It's a pretty debatable topic whether we should be having tiebreakers, or it is probably not the right way you judge the best team, because we have seen teams like Spain, Russia going out. I would love to highlight how Russia played this year. Yes, Russia has been the least ranked team in this World Cup. 70, yes, 70th rank. Still, if we have seen the last match between Russia and Croatia, you must have seen how the young players like Cheryshev, Golovin, Igor Akinfev, the goalkeeper, they played against the mighty Croatians, who were led by none other than Luka Modric, Rakitic, Mandzukic, and other stalwarts who play for the top clubs in the European leagues. That's why you think you can have some inspiring performances. Goals, because after all, when you talk about goals, you look at scintillating goals, some goals which you are not going to forget. For example, I will definitely won't forget the goal what Cheryshev scored against Croatia. And obviously, if you talk about the whole World Cup itself, remembering the Cristiano Ronaldo's goal, the right-footed free kick round David Gea in the very first knockout, not the knockout match, the league match between Spain and Portugal. We have seen good head goals, because nowadays you see that the referees, they are also pretty careful about concussions and moments. But when you talk about referees, you will definitely talk about VAR. We have seen VAR, the use of VAR in Bundesliga. We have seen it's being used in FA Cup League. And there were debates altogether whether, mainly there were 3 questions. The first question was that whether VAR is going to slow the game, because you see, when the referee is going out, he has to look into the monitor itself. It will definitely take some minutes out. Whether this will slow down the pace of the game, that has been one aspect. Secondly, unlike cricket and tennis, in this case, the teams, the players, the coaches, they don't have any role in the VAR. So it solely depends on the referee. This is where there have been debates whether the teams should be having their doubts or they can call for VARs or not. In this case, I would like to point about a match between Portugal and Iran. It was a decisive moment, 10 minutes left, and there was in one moment itself, there was one case of handball, and the referee directly went to the VAR and he given it a shootout for the Irans. But the problem is that it was a case of judgment, because it looked like that the player deliberately didn't touch the ball with his hand. So you see that there are cases where we can see that there are chances of improving with VAR, and definitely I hope, be it the Football Association or FIFA itself, everywhere they are looking into how to induct technology into football, so that I want to interrupt in one aspect, that this VAR is definitely important, because the World Cup previously we have seen Frank Lampard's goal went inside the goal line itself and the referee didn't educate it, and after all England lost the game against. So that's where you think that VAR is very important, but there are flaws alongside. So we'll be having up with new aspects, the goal scorers, whether Harry Kane can eclipse the record of Ronaldo, or Romelu Lukaku can leapfrog someone like Harry Kane to get the golden boot or something. Stay tuned, we'll be back after a short break.
जिक्र जब भी जीएसटी की होती है तो नजरें ढूंढती हैं जीएसटी दोस्त विकास धनानिया को।
नमस्कार विकास जी, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आने के लिए।
विकास धनानिया बात करते हैं पूरी जिम्मेदारी के साथ
कि यहाँ पर गुड्स को रिसीव्ड नहीं किया गया है। हाँ, लेकिन तब आपको ये प्रूफ करना पड़ेगा कि भाई हमने तो हैंड रिक्शा से मंगा लिया है।
आम आदमी जीएसटी को जानना चाहता है, लिहाजा सवालों का अंबार है। इन्हीं सवालों को समेटते हैं हमारे होस्ट राकेश। हर ट्यूसडे और फ्राइडे रात 8 बजे होस्ट राकेश और दोस्त विकास धनानिया हो जाते हैं आमने सामने, सिर्फ आपके लिए जियो बांग्ला पर। देखिए जीएसटी की बात दोस्त के साथ जियो बांग्ला पर।
Hello, I'm Ranabir, back on Googly Goals, powered by Googly Mania, and we are having light-headed conversation on this year's World Cup. No, we're not into any preview, review, or any specific analysis, but as a football enthusiast, as I've been looking into this game, this beautiful game for the last 2 decades, I can definitely say this World Cup has been very special from so many aspects. Before the start of this year's World Cup, FIFA directly said that we don't want to see any case of racism, and if there is any such incidents, the referees will have the power to postpone the match, stop the match thereupon. But thankfully we haven't seen such a case. So this has been really one thing I'm really proud to see, because there were cases previously in Russia when teams coming to play against CSK Moscow or St. Petersburg and others. So this is one thing I'm really happy to see, that the Russian spectators, they have been smart enough not to fall into that trap. Now going into the goals itself, this World Cup we have seen so many goals, and I was checking in Twitter itself, they were saying that whether this World Cup has witnessed the arrival of genuine strikers, or we have seen attacking midfielders coming up with more goals. So this is a very interesting aspect, because for the last 8 or 9 years, since the evolution of the Spanish team, especially under Del Bosque, we have seen the role of the false 9, that you don't play with a genuine striker. And this has happened with the case of Jose Mourinho also. Such coaches, they don't at all look for the traditional forward who is going to score goals, because the people we are acquainted with the trends of play, we know that when you're talking about long ball, you refer to the English style of play. But that has changed altogether, because currently in English football, we have got coaches like Antonio Conte, we have got coaches like Pep Guardiola, Jose Mourinho, and Jurgen Klopp, and all these coaches, they are from so many countries, and their perception of football is very different from what we understand about the traditional mode. And this is why I think the new strikers, they have got some sort of different aspects of play. So I wasn't surprised to see in the pre-quarter final match when Messi was tackled by someone like Griezmann. 30 years back, you would have never expected someone like Zico or Socrates coming up and actually tackling someone like Platini. So this is something that has changed so much. Even I saw that Cristiano Ronaldo, he was coming in the midfield, trying to help his defenders altogether. So this aspect of football is something which we need to look upon closely. Now coming into the goal scores itself, it has been a pretty good World Cup for someone like Harry Kane. Yeah, he is more than a goal machine. He has been scoring goals consistently for the last 3-4 years for Tottenham Hotspur. But we haven't seen his name coming up altogether because Tottenham doesn't win trophies. That's a sad reason. And there are speculations that we can see Harry Kane in Real Madrid shirt or Barcelona in coming years. But he has been absolutely spot on, and probably one of the basic reasons why we consider the Three Lions team to be one of the strong contenders for this year's World Cup. And he has been ably supported by the midfielders English team has. Someone like Dele Alli is there, Jamie Vardy, who has been injured, but the coordination of the players is one thing. Regarding the English team, you could definitely say that previously we have seen they had players of the caliber of Lampard, Gerrard, Beckham, Scholes playing together, but they couldn't reach some of the quarterfinals. So what may be the possible reason? The thing is that this time around, the coach, Gareth Southgate, has proved that he's much better than Tony Venables or Eriksson and all these coaches rather than Glenn Hoddle also. So this has been one peculiar aspect of Harry Kane's play. And I think the credit must also go to Pochettino, because being a coach of a team itself, he has explained Harry Kane different aspects of football. So we have seen that he has changed the dimensions of football as a striker. Then obviously you need to name someone like Romelu Lukaku. Yes, we love to call him a big bully, but if you have seen how he has played for Everton all these years and this year for Manchester United, this guy definitely knows how to play and how to score goals. He's basically a goal poacher. He doesn't want to run after the other players. The Belgium team, if you look at the team composition, they have got good players like Hazard or Kevin De Bruyne or someone like Fellaini. But when you have someone like Lukaku, he is basically the point of reference or the target man. So what Hazard does for Chelsea or Kevin De Bruyne does for Manchester City, their roles in the specific Belgium national team is quite different. Here, they are basically playing the role of playmakers. For example, in the very last match when Brazil conceded 2 goals in the very first half against Belgium, we saw that Hazard wasn't wasting time, but he was dribbling continuously, and he had 11 successful dribbles. So that's a fascinating one, because when you are seeing a playmaker basically coming up, or you can call him a left winger or right winger, because Hazard's role is something you cannot actually spot him or mark him within one corner of the game. And that's why I think players like Hazard or Kevin De Bruyne have actually helped someone like Lukaku to put his game to a next different level. That's why probably we haven't seen Lukaku with such inspiring performance when he plays for Manchester United, because there the basic target is that whenever the team scores a goal, Jose Mourinho instructs his players, get back, park the bus itself, don't allow any goal to come in. So you know, when you're playing under different coaches altogether, Roberto Martinez, this case like this, he gets all the brownie points for such an inspiring display of football. We have seen all the matches we have seen Belgium playing this time, we have seen him scoring good goals. And apart from that, as far as Golden Boot is concerned, Hazard has got 2 goals and 2 assists. So I think this time around the competition is definitely going to be between Harry Kane and Romelu Lukaku. Harry Kane is way behind, but if England is knocked out in the semi-finals, then Lukaku can definitely leapfrog him. But you know, as for the FIFA rules, if 2 footballers they have got same scores, having same goals, then automatically the decision will be taken upon the number of assists. So, and obviously the goals per minute, that is also another parameter in case both the players have got same assists. But definitely, I think both Harry Kane and Romelu Lukaku, both these players have got all the acumen to get the Golden Boot, which we have seen in previously, someone like Paolo Rossi or Ronaldo, or all these players coming up and getting this coveted award. About the goalkeeping aspect is concerned, we have seen some inspiring performances from the goalkeepers. I would love to name Mexico's Guillermo Ochoa. Ochoa has got the same reflexes what we have seen in 2014. But I would love to name Savicic, who is actually the keeping for Croatia. Don't forget that he has saved his team in 2 tiebreakers. It's not an easy job after all. And when a player can perform like that consistently, he's obviously, you can definitely term as Croatian legend. But let's not forget Kasper Schmeichel also. He's the son of legendary Peter Schmeichel, and we have seen that in spite of the fact that Denmark lost and they didn't qualify for the semi-finals, but still, or rather quarter-finals, they lost in the pre-quarter one within the tiebreakers. Still, his performance, how he saved Luka Modric's penalty itself, will definitely remember in the days to come. So I think, but you won't be forgetting the name of Hugo Lloris also, because he has been, or rather I can say, a strong pillar for the Tottenham team. And this time around, when he's captaining the French team, the Les Bleus, he has been a pretty secured one behind the bars, and that's why I think the England had too tough a position, because in a match against Colombia it was harsh play altogether. There were questions whether one opposition player could have been given red card or not. So there were occasions where I could have said yes, but definitely my vote goes to Subasic. And even if Croatia crashes out in the semi-finals this year, I think he's the one who is the best contender for getting the Golden Gloves, which is given to the best goalkeeper. As far as Golden Ball is concerned, yeah, it's a case of the playmaker or something. We have seen previously players like Rivaldo getting it. This time around, I was asking with some friends, they were saying, boss, this time we are not having someone like James Rodriguez in the team. So I feel, as far as the performances is concerned, you can have someone like Kylian Mbappe, who is playing for France and has already scored 3 goals. Or you can look at Luka Modric. Basically, Luka Modric, who's a seasoned footballer who plays for Real Madrid, and we have seen him coming up with good performances. But definitely, there is one trend: the referee or the committee which decides upon these awards, they tend to look at whether the teams, the players representing, have reached the finals or not. But I feel that be it Kylian Mbappe or someone like Griezmann or someone like Luka Modric or Rakitic or someone like Dele Alli or something are good contenders, but I would love to see someone like Luka Modric getting this award. So basically, this is in a nutshell we can say about the Golden Boot, Golden Ball and Golden Gloves. We have only got 48 hours left for our next match, the semi-finals, and we know we have got 4 matches, the last 4 matches of this World Cup, 2 semi-finals, 1 match for the 3rd place, and obviously finals on the 15th of July. Let's wait, and definitely stay tuned to Googly Goals. We'll be coming up with all the updates, analysis, deeper insights, and definitely we'll be coming up with own predictions as well. Stay tuned, Googly Goals. Goodbye.